The crisp winter wind cut through my Valet jacket as I parked yet another Lexus outside the Charleston Yacht Club. Dad's 60th birthday bash was in full swing inside, and thanks to my sister Chloe's genius suggestion, I was stuck playing parking attendant for the evening. "Hey, Alex. There's a Rolls out front, don't scratch it," Chloe called from the entrance, swirling her Chardonnay. Her silk gown probably cost more than she assumed I made in a year. "Valet suits you, little brother. Finally found your purpose." If she only knew I'd turned down buying Rolls-Royce's parent company last quarter because their EV strategy didn't meet my timeline. But here I was, smiling and nodding, playing my part while my family toasted each other's success inside, thinking I was barely scraping by. My phone buzzed, a message from Sofia Ramirez, my COO. "Board wants you now. Tokyo Partnership is on the line. $7.8 billion at stake. Private jet ready on standby." I glanced at my watch. An understated Audemars Piguet that cost more than Chloe's waterfront condo. And texted back, "Delay, 90 minutes. Then wheels up. Asian markets open soon, perfect timing. I'd been wondering how to make an exit from this circus. Now the universe had gifted me the ideal excuse. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows I saw them, my family basking in their imagined hierarchy. Dad's voice drifted out. "Chloe, my star, real estate queen of Charleston." Then, a dismissive chuckle. "And Alex, still, finding himself." Finding myself, right. Like founding Nova Dynamics at 22, turning it into a $65 billion 0-cents global tech empire by 33, and keeping it under wraps so no one could exploit my success. "Still driving strangers' cars?" Chloe's husband smirked as he tossed me his keys. "Better than taking the bus like you usually do." If he only knew I took the bus to beta test our autonomous transit system before rolling it out in use. As I slid behind the wheel of a cherry red Rolls, my jet hummed on the runway a few miles away. In 2 hours, I'd be in Tokyo, signing a deal that would make tonight's party look like a kid's lemonade stand. But for now? I smiled, parked the Rolls, and whispered to myself, "Happy birthday, Dad. Hope you enjoy your party. I've got a world to run." The same system her prized investment firm had tried to buy into last quarter, only to be rejected without so much as a meeting. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was Sophia, my executive assistant. "Jet is fueled and waiting at the private airstrip. Board assembled in Tokyo. Also, Morgan Stanley called again about investment opportunity. Same answer?" I glanced toward Chloe, laughing with her real estate buddies, bragging about her $900,000 0-cents commission year. Cute. I'd spent more than that hosting a single investor dinner in Dubai last month. "Alex." Dad's stern voice snapped me back. "Quit scrolling and park these cars, unless you'd rather be unemployed." Unemployed. The irony tasted sweeter than the champagne they kept flaunting. My company had just been valued at $65 billion 0 cents. I employed more people than everyone inside that yacht club combined. Then I heard it. The distant roar of turbines cutting through the cold night air. My Gulfstream was right on time. I told my pilot to take a flight path low enough for the yacht club's floor-to-ceiling windows to catch the gleam of its custom livery. "My word," someone gasped inside. "That's the Nova Dynamics jet." "I'd know that paint anywhere," another voice chimed. Chloe's husband practically pressed his face against the glass. "Impossible to even get a call with them. Even Morgan Stanley couldn't break through my gatekeepers." I checked my watch. Time to end this charade. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, slipping off the valet jacket to reveal a perfectly tailored Brioni suit underneath, its subtle sheen catching the club lights. "I'm afraid I have a board meeting to attend." The room fell silent as the black and silver jet streaked across the Charleston Harbor skyline. Gasps followed when I removed the messy valet cap, revealing slick back hair and the Nova Dynamics lapel pin that hedge fund CEOs had been known to bid 6 figures for. Mom's champagne flute hit the marble floor, shattering at her feet. Chloe blinked, stunned. "That's not possible. You park cars." "Correction," I smiled, sliding on a pair of Tom Ford sunglasses as I strolled toward the door. "I own Nova Dynamics. along with Helix Aerospace and about 40 other companies you've probably been begging to pitch. The jet circled once more, its custom logo glowing against the winter sky. My earpiece crackled. Sophia's calm voice. Mr. Carter, Tokyo is waiting. Tell them wheels up in 15. The board is assembled in Tokyo. Mr. Tanaka from the Japan Sovereign Fund is anxious about the $7,800,000,000 0 cents deal. Wheels up in 90 minutes? Confirmed, I replied, loud enough for the entire yacht club to hear. The laughter died instantly. Conversations froze mid-sentence. Dozens of eyes locked on me, processing what was happening. Alex, Dad stepped forward, his voice edged with confusion and that old banker's authority he thought still carried weight. What game are you playing? I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out my real phone, the one encrypted for executives only, and tapped a command. Seconds later, the yacht club's digital display screens flickered to life. Charts, valuations, and headlines exploded across the room. Nova Dynamics, market cap $65 billion, 0 cents, annual revenue $21 billion, 0 cents. CEO, Alexander Carter. No games, Father, I said softly. Just business. The kind you always said I'd never understand. A ripple of shock spread as the numbers scrolled on screen. Personal net worth, $14,800,000,000, 0 cents. Chloe's champagne glass trembled in her hand. Her husband finally broke the silence. But you take the bus. I smiled. The same autonomous transit system my company designed, the one Morgan Stanley has been begging to invest in. I turned to Chloe. How many times has your husband pitched that deal to my board? 15? 20? Her husband's face drained to ash. Those were you? Every rejection letter came from me, I said smoothly, though I particularly enjoyed the last pitch, where you told my directors that my failure was proof tech investments were too risky. Mom finally found her voice, brittle and trembling. Darling, why didn't you tell us? We're family. Family? I arched an eyebrow. Like when you made me park cars for your party? Or when you told the yacht club I couldn't afford membership? I swept an arm toward the lavish room. By the way, I bought the club last week. Amazing what a wire transfer can do. And then, the roar of turbines ripped through the night air. My jet glided low over Charleston Harbor, lights blazing, its black and silver livery gleaming like a predator in moonlight. Chloe's husband whispered, barely audible, ND1. That's the CEO's plane. Very observant, I said, adjusting my cufflinks. Though for short flights I prefer ND2. This one's just here for the view. Sophia's voice came through my earpiece, calm and precise. Car is ready, Mr. Carter. Tokyo board is waiting. I looked around the stunned room, letting the silence hang for one perfect beat. Ladies and gentlemen, I announced, sliding on my coat, enjoy the party. I have a world to run. If you think this twist was wild, wait until you hear what happens when Alex steps onto that jet. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of this unbelievable journey. I'm afraid I have a $7,800,000,000 0 cents acquisition to oversee, I said, my tone smooth as silk. Mother, happy birthday. I'd stay for cake, but... I gestured toward the yacht club's giant screens, now glowing with Nova Dynamics' soaring stock price. Markets wait for no one. Alex, wait! Dad's voice cracked like a man who suddenly realized he'd misread the entire game. We should talk about this, as a family. There are opportunities. I turned slowly, savoring the desperation dripping from his words. Opportunities? Like the family investment fund you excluded me from? The one that's now worth less than my weekly coffee bill? The thunder of rotor blades split the night air, my actual ride to the airstrip. Heads swiveled as the ultra-rare Airbus ACH-160 corporate helicopter descended toward the private dock. The sound alone was enough to make Chloe's husband's jaw hit the ground. Oh, and Michael? I called over the din, strolling toward the double doors. Morgan Stanley's pitch. Rejected again. Though this time, I smiled. It's personal. Gasps rippled through the crowd as the helicopter's lights bathed the entrance in a wash of gold. Michael shoved through the guests, his perfect hair now windblown and wild. Wait, we need to talk about this. I paused at the threshold, pivoting to face the brother who'd spent a decade branding me the family failure. Talk about what, Mike? Your rejected pitches? Or your attempt to convince Nova's board last month that my leadership was a liability at best? His face went sheet white. You know about that? I know everything. I slid my tablet from my coat and tapped the screen. His confidential Morgan Stanley decks filled the display. Slides proposing that Nova Dynamics would thrive under Morgan Stanley's experienced leadership. I tilted my head. Tell me, what experience were you referring to? Your 3 years as VP? Or Amanda's trust fund? The entire party had spilled outside now, their couture dresses no match for the winter wind. Mom clutched her pearls, the same ones she told me last Christmas were too expensive for my taste. If only she knew about my private gem collection that made her jewelry look like trinkets. Sophia's voice crackled in my earpiece, calm as ever. Tokyo update. Mr. Tanaka just offered an extra $1,200,000,000, 0 cents, to close tonight. Also, Morgan Stanley's CEO is calling again. I smiled at Michael, letting the numbers hang in the frosty air like a guillotine. His entire career wouldn't add up to this one deal. Tell Mr. Tanaka we'll finalize terms en route, I replied. As for Morgan Stanley, send the standard rejection, but add a note. Ask Michael Carter about his brother's business acumen. Dad stepped forward, shoulders squared, adopting that old negotiator's stance. Alex, son, let's discuss this. There's a way for us to... Let's be reasonable, Dad said, his voice measured but cracking at the edges. You've clearly done well for yourself. We should align our interests. The Carter family name, imagine what it means now, tied to technological innovation. I cut him off with a smile as sharp as broken glass. No thanks to you. Remember what you said when I started Nova Dynamics? Tech is for people who can handle real business. How's that analysis holding up, Father? The helicopter descended onto the yacht club's immaculate lawn, its rotor wash scattering petals from the ice sculptures. My helicopter, on my lawn? Because I now owned this club. The pilot executed a flawless landing, the custom Nova insignia glowing proudly on the aircraft's fuselage. Guests gasped as the logo illuminated the night sky like a brand burned into their memories. Your net worth, Amanda stammered, still staring at the figures flashing across her phone. It's more than the combined value of everyone here, I replied smoothly. Correction, everyone here, their extended families, and their companies. Though that was last week's valuation. It's probably higher now. Mom stepped forward, mascara trembling on the edge of collapse. All this time, when we thought you were struggling, when we tried to help you find a real job. Real job? I laughed. Like last month, when you suggested I apply for an entry-level position at Michael's bank? The same bank that's been begging for a meeting with me for years? Notification pings exploded like fireworks as news alerts lit the room. Nova Dynamics secures Tokyo mega deal. Market cap surges past $70, 0 cents B. Michael's phone buzzed nonstop, probably Morgan Stanley brass realizing their golden boy had been torpedoing their biggest opportunity. Sophia, I called, show them the property portfolio. The yacht club's exterior screens lit up with images of my real estate empire, the Manhattan block where Michael rented his luxury apartment, the skyscraper housing Dad's boutique investment firm, the shopping complex Amanda flaunted on Instagram. You own? Michael's voice cracked. Not everything, I corrected softly, just the important things. Like the mortgage company holding your house note, or the private equity firm about to reject your bonus request. Sophia appeared at my side, tablet glowing. Tokyo transfer confirmed. Additional $1,200,000,000, 0 cents secured. Also, your father's firm? Their largest client just shifted to us. Dad's face blanched. That client was their lifeline. Now, it was mine. The valet service was a nice touch, Michael, I said as I strode toward the waiting helicopter. Very on brand. For you. So next time, I said, pausing with one foot on the helicopter step, check who owns the cars you're having parked. Most of them belong to my subsidiaries. Alex, please. Mom called out, desperation cracking her voice like porcelain. We're still family. We can work together, support each other. Turned slowly, the rotor wash whipping her perfect hair into chaos. Support? Like when you froze me out of the family investment fund? Or when you told this yacht club's board I couldn't afford membership? I smiled coldly. By the way, the board meeting tomorrow? Cancelled, along with your memberships. You can't do this! Michael's voice broke, his polished confidence evaporating in the downwash. Pretty soon? Actually, I said, raising my wrist and glancing at my watch. I can, and I am. The gesture they'd seen me make 1,000 times meant something very different tonight. At my signal, every screen in and around the yacht club blazed to life with a single headline. Nova Dynamics announced $7.8 billion, 0 cents, Tokyo expansion. Gasps. Screams. A dropped glass, shattering against marble. Group of buoys? Aristotle Putin? Enjoy the rest of the party, I said as I stepped into the helicopter cabin. Though you might want to check your accounts tomorrow, I hear Morgan Stanley's reviewing VP positions, starting with anyone who missed the biggest investment opportunity of the decade. As the Airbus lifted into the frosty night, I looked down. Their figures grew smaller, their curated world of hollow prestige shrinking beneath me. The same people who'd laughed when I said I had plans, now choking on the proof that I was the plan. Through my earpiece, Sophia's calm voice broke through the roar of the rotors. Tokyo board is live, $1.2 billion, 0 cents premium confirmed, waiting on your go-ahead. Send them a gift, I said. The usual? She asked. No, I grinned, remembering every smirk, every time they called me a failure. Send them a bus pass. They'll need it once the autonomous transit system rolls out. The helicopter banked toward my private airfield, where ended one, my custom Gulfstream waited, engines humming like a promise. Below, the yacht club, my yacht club, still flashed headlines across its walls, branding the night with a truth my family could no longer deny. Sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't just success. It's success they never saw coming, delivered with precision so every insult echoes back louder than ever. As my jet soared over the Pacific, Sophia handed me one last update. Your brother's termination from Morgan Stanley is confirmed, effective immediately. Cause: catastrophic failure to recognize key investment opportunities. Also, your parents' club dues have been adjusted to the non-family rate. I leaned back in the leather seat, scrolling through acquisition briefs. And the bus passes? Already en route, she said. Perfect, I murmured, watching the clouds part as we chased the sunrise. Let's show them what real business looks like. If you've made it this far, you've seen how the people who doubted me ended up speechless. Now, I want to hear from you. What would you have done in my place? Would you have kept the secret or revealed everything sooner? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to know how you would have handled that moment. If you think I made the right call, show your support by hitting that subscribe button. Trust me, the next chapter will take this story even higher, literally and figuratively. Here's the biggest lesson I've learned. Don't let anyone define your worth. Not family, not colleagues, not anyone who doesn't understand your vision. People will underestimate you, sometimes on purpose. Let them. Because when you stay focused, your results will speak louder than any defense you could ever make. Work quietly. Build boldly. And when the time comes, let your success make all the noise. Now tell me, what's one dream you're chasing right now, even if no one believes in it yet? Comment below. Let's start a conversation that empowers each other. And don't forget, subscribe if you want more stories like this, because the best revenge is living your vision out loud.